They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want to.
And for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Corruption manifests in so many forms in this country that some forms have begun to lose their destructive and negative connotations. Some have been dressed up in benign expressions, so much so that they have actually become attractive to people. Today we will be talking about sorting, egunje, kola, dash, and so on. All these refer to a type of petty corruption that consists of small payments or gifts made to a person with authority to obtain or retain business or favor. Welcome to Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am Ruth Awudi. Also on today's edition, we bring you ethics and values, drama, and many more. But first, Joy Aja is standing by with stories on anti-corruption. Over to you, Joy.
Thank you, Ruth. Welcome to this segment on anti-corruption stories. I am Joy Aja. A Bauchi State High Court has sentenced Mr. Shoyemi Lateef to 9 years imprisonment for misleading the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, into paying 586,000 naira to a non-pensioner, Mr. Saliu Oba Amao. The court also sentenced Amao to 9 years in jail for providing fake bank details in the name of Ishaku Das to PTAD for the purpose of misleading the agency into paying him pension benefits. Lateef, an administration officer with the Bauchi State Police Pension Office, was charged alongside his accomplice, Amao, before Justice S.H. Suleiman of Bauchi State High Court 7 by ICPC. The commission, in a 6-count charge, told the court that the convicts conspired to steal pension money between November and December 2013, when Lateef inserted Amao's name as Ishaku Das in the list of retirees meant to be paid by PTAD in return for an undisclosed favor. Counsel to Lateef and Amao pleaded with the court to show them mercy on the grounds that they were first-time offenders and had cooperated fully with the prosecution. Justice Suleiman, in his ruling, found them guilty on all the counts and therefore sentenced them to 1 year and 6 months on each count, which would run concurrently without an option of fine. In a related development, ICPC has also secured the conviction of 2 men, Olushola Alabi and Balogun Teslim, to 4 years imprisonment over visa fraud. The accused persons were charged before Honorable Justice Mojishola Dada of a Lagos High Court sitting in Ikeja on 3 counts bordering on procuring false documents to mislead a constituted authority. ICPC told the court that the convicts procured a false annual leave letter from the United Bank of Africa to mislead the United States of America consulate in Lagos into believing that they were staff of the bank in order to facilitate the approval of their visa applications. Justice Dada, in her ruling, sentenced them to 2 years imprisonment each without an option of fine.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they watch you.
One hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
The acting chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Usman Abubakar, has declared that opportunities for official corruption can be greatly reduced with adequate monitoring of the processes of government, ministries, departments and agencies. Dr. Abubakar, who was represented by the spokesperson of the commission, Mrs. Rashidat Okodwa, made this declaration at the opening ceremony of a 4-week postgraduate certificate course in corruption prevention for officials of federal and state government agencies at the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria in Kefi, Nasarawa State.
Nothing is ever complete. Nobody has comprehensive knowledge about anything. But this will expose you to all those strategies you have to put in place, all those mechanisms you have to put in place to maintain a watch on the system, to be sure that you reduce opportunity for corrupt practices. That's essentially what this course is about, and I am wishing all of you a very good, very fruitful, very productive 1 month with ACAN, and I want to encourage you to allow your experience to come forth. Do not just soak in the knowledge without asking. Venture to ask, venture to offer differing opinion. I hope you understand what a differing opinion, a different one that differs from what there's. Venture it. If you feel uncomfortable about something, or you feel you want to add more to something, please feel free. This is an environment, a learning environment, whereby even the facilitator also has the opportunity to learn from your own experience base.
Earlier in his remarks, the provost of the academy, Professor Shola Akimiade, had pointed out that the participants present were the first set for the course, which had been designed as a knowledge-based capacity development and risk exposure course with support from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes and United Nations Convention Against Corruption, and that it would last for a month. That will be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues with Ruth. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Now, yeah.
Yes, Oga.
Okay.
Where I go come find 300 naira change?
I better look for change now. When you do business? Hey, Timmy. I did, bro. I be. I beg, give me 200 naira. Make I take sort out this guy. If let's say no get change.
Take it, give us.
I said 200.
Give her 100 naira.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree to pay 200 naira.
How much you think they carry people from that place we carry on the chair?
Oga.
Why they touch me?
Now 100 naira. He agreed to pay.
Because that was what you said was the fair. Why you not go pay you? Why you they extort your customer? You see this corruption, what would they hear for news? They see for people everywhere. Now be this so. This is corruption, not in our country.
Stop corruption now.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they watch you.
One hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
If you are just tuning in, this is Corruption Must Go. It is morally and legally wrong to pay these bribes. People who pay for contracts, jobs, or files to be attended to ought to know that the law kicks against bribery in any form. For instance, a job seeker should know that it is within his right to apply, and if he so qualifies, be given the job without offering money in exchange, as that will amount to contravening some provisions of the ICPC law. We went to the streets to find out the views Nigerians have on the subject.
This thing has caused a lot of, how can I put it, a lot of error. And to the extent that the growth at which the issue of Egunje is growing rapidly is very wrong. Even though when you get to our institution, when you get to our government parastatal, even though the private parastatal, the way they demand for bribe is too much. It's too much. Even though when you go there to apply for anything, even though don't be surprised, a secretary will be asking of Egunje before you can see his or her boss. So it's wrong. So it's something that we must kick against in our community. Actually, they have their, what they call it, different name. Some will say anything for the boys, anything for the ladies. Are you getting me? Indirectly, they are asking for something. And if you said nothing, what they are supposed to do at that present, they won't do it. And what they are supposed to do for you for a day, it will be taking them for a month, a week. Are you getting me? Even though sometimes your file, they can even throw it aside. And of which, you know, as human being, is very painful. My advice is that I believe we have a watchdog in this country. The government should go after them. Anybody that is being alleged of corruption, even though if it is a penny, 1 naira, a corruption is corruption. They should go after the person, and they should make sure that they sensitize. Even though in our institution, most especially in the university, polytechnic, is too rampant. It's rampant. The government should just do something about it.
Well, you can say is maybe protocol, to observe some protocol, or you can say is what is it called? Is it human relation? This kind of a human relation thing. It's kind of you relate humanly to the other person. There's a different way of calling it. You know, even our system to the courts, especially the courts, you know, they have a way of waiving off corrupt cases with what we call injunction. The courts injunctions, they postpone cases, and all these things has a way of weakening. So it's part of it again. Postponement of cases, adjunctions of cases are supposed to be settled. This you keep adjourning it, and those are corruption too. Adjourning of cases. Thank you.
The Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 renders both receiving and offering bribes criminal offences. Mr. Ebenezer Shogunle, Head Civil Litigation Unit, speaks further on this.
Sorting Egunje, Chinhanchi, Akagu, and the like. They are what we call popular terms in Nigeria that refers to bribery and corruption. In other words, instances where people offer money or benefit of any kind to public officers in the performance of their duties for the motive of getting such a public officer to either show some favor or disfavor in the course of his duties is what is generally referred to as bribery. Now, under the ICPC Act, specifically sections 8, 9, and 10 are the provisions that prohibit and prescribe punishment for those kind of activities. It is interesting to also note that the punishment for either giving or receiving is the same, which is 7 years imprisonment. What that tells us is that the law frowns at both the giver and the receiver. What may also be of interest to the viewers is that this bribe is not necessarily in monetary terms. By the provisions of the Act, it includes benefit of any kind. So it is not restricted to tangible things. And we have had instances where people naturally even give forbearance to either report or forbearance to take certain negative actions against somebody, or instances where even the physical person is offered as a kind of gratification. We have seen so many instances on our academic campuses. We've seen so many instances even in the public workplace where senior officers demand for some kind of physical gratification, from their subordinates in order to show favor, either in terms of travel, training opportunities, even promotion. All of these activities are expressly prohibited under the ICPC Act. Yeah, we have received several reports dealing with offers and receiving of bribe. In fact, a huge percentage of the work we do in ICPC is centered around that. Normally, when such reports come in, we have a specialized unit that carries out what we call sting operations, where if it involves money, for example, marked funds are provided by the commission and given to whoever it is that is either demanding or asking to receive such funds. And in the process, they are caught in the act. We have made some very successful prosecutions in respect of that. Yeah, there are a number of examples, like I said before. One of the most recent one is the judgment recently given by the FCT High Court with respect to a chief magistrate who demanded for gratification and, of course, was caught in the act. We have many other instances. We've had even PHCN officials, what used to be known as NEPA. They were demanding for bribe in order to either connect or disconnect somebody from electricity supply. We prosecuted a number of them and successfully convicted them. We've prosecuted law enforcement officers, coming cut across police officers, SSS officers, and the like, cut across customs officers. A number of them have been reported and successfully prosecuted. Yeah, the advice for Nigerians generally is that bribery and corruption, it's not a good thing for our country. Somebody who is immediately offered a bribe may think is benefiting immediately from receiving such a bribe. But in the long run, you find that it's actually a negative thing and it's going to affect the particular individual and the entire society. So our advice is that when we refrain from giving, and when we are offered, we should not receive. In situations where you are compelled by whatever circumstances to receive, you have a duty to report immediately either to your superior officer in the office or to the police or ICPC, as the case may be. In fact, the ICPC also makes it an offense for anybody, any public officer who is offered a bribe, who fails to report it. And the failure to report here even involves whether you receive it or you do not receive it. You have a duty to report. Punishment for failing to report that is 2 years imprisonment as well. So general advice is better that we just stay off.
Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want you.
Come on, for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
My name is Alero. I am not sick. I just need you to help put your stamp on this medical report. I want to tender it at my office as a sick leave. I'll pay 10,000 naira.
Ma'am, that is impersonation. I'm not a doctor.
Oga, be like say this English no go pay. I go increase the money to 20,000 naira. I beg. You know, if I give you that 20,000, as you wide, so if it still help your condition more. So you don't say you spread well.
As I spread like virus, I'll be.
You talk.
Come out! If person come to your hospital, talk to make you give a fake medical report, make you go take collect sick leave. Talk and say no, not corruption. Not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Sorting, Akazu, Chinhanchi, Ubokedem, Owo Abetele represent a culture of corruption in our society. They fill job positions with unqualified and incompetent candidates. They lead to poor execution of projects by unqualified firms. They compromise due process and procedures in addition to other undesirable practices. They should therefore be avoided. We must all stand for what is right and see ourselves as change agents for our great country. That's our package on this week's edition. Remember, you can make inquiries and suggestions via our toll-free numbers as shown on the screen. You can also watch the program on our YouTube channel www.youtube.com/ICPC Nigeria. I am Ruth Awodi. Bye for now.